Cleats are an excellent way to mount shelves, especially in a closet. Today we're going to be fixing existing cleats in one closet and cutting and installing new ones for another. Let's start with this hallway closet. I'm not sure what monster decided to just hack away at these already installed, perfectly good cleats in order to make room for these ugly-ass wire shelves. It's so easy to just cut a few pieces of wood. In fact, I'm going to show you just how easy it is, but first I need to fix this crime. You could leave it like this, the cleats will still work, obviously, but this is my home and a perfectly good teaching moment. All you need is some wood filler. I like this plastic wood by DAP for this application. It's applied very much like plaster. I'm adding a bit of tape on the bottom because it appears whoever did this hack job used a drill bit to just bore through. The best part is you can't really go wrong here. You could fill in exactly the right amount and set up a sort of form or mold to get it just right from the start, but that's slower, more precise work that will take longer to dry since a form would be covering the wood filler. Instead, my preferred method is the plaster approach. You add excess material and shape it later by sanding. This is much faster since more surface area is exposed to the air, so it'll dry quicker. While I wait for that to dry, I'm picking up the wood I need for both of these closet projects. And this is not a bad fit for a Wrangler without any roof racks, but I really need a different truck for these projects, as they're getting bigger. Once you've sanded and touched everything up, you can prime and paint if you're ready. I like this spray can primer for these small, quick applications. It beats cleaning a brush. I'm not ready to paint this closet yet, so I'm going to leave it unfinished and jump instead to the shelves. This closet is 22 inches wide. You can pick up 2x4 pre-cut bits of plywood, or a fancier wood if you want. But this is a linen closet, so I really don't give a damn. And just rip it to size. Up to you how deep you want the shelves to be. I'm just cutting at 22 inches so that the depth is the other measurement at 24 inches. Since it's plywood, I'm taping the cut line to prevent much blowout. This is my first time using this Craig rip cut jig. Once you dial it in, it's actually pretty nice. You do that 2 more times and we're done. It was that easy. Now, you have many options for finishing these. You could stain them or you could paint. You could use edge banding to hide these layer lines if you bought plywood, or even some of that same wood filler and some fine sanding to shape it smooth. As I said, I'm not ready to paint this closet yet, nor is this a painting channel. So, moving on to the blank slate closet, which actually butts up to this one. It's in my office and is a rather odd setup. It's off the ground and it's super deep. There is a lot more work I need to do to it, but for starters, I wanted more shelving to get my shit off the ground and organized. I have a plan for a fun custom build to add here later, but that's a secret, which I'll spoil at the end of this video. For now, I want to add some custom shaped shelves to maximize my storage. I made up a simple drawing and decided to make an odd U shape out of 3 pieces of wood joined together and resting on 3 sections of cleats. For the back pieces, I bought a 1x10 board to get a depth of 9¼ inches. Those will be cut at 30½ inches per the width of my closet. You'll see later on where I run into some issues as the closet is not exactly plumb. The side pieces are 7¼ inches wide, made up of these 1x8 boards. I set up a stop block on my miter saw to make repeated 12-inch cuts of these 1x2-inch strips. It's right here where I realized I did my math wrong and cut these unnecessarily short. Oh well, we move on. The best part of a garage setup is being able to blow away the sawdust directly outside. I'm measuring and tracing out the odd shape that I'll cut the narrow pieces into. Each side of the closet is a little different. Once I cut one of each, I can use it as a template for the rest. For some interesting shapes and to keep the design consistency with my existing shelves that I made, I'm rounding the corners a bit. This would be a lot better with a router and round over bit, but I don't have those, so I'm doing it by hand. Pocket holes will join the 3 cuts into one large U-shaped shelf. This is also my first time joining with pocket holes, if you can believe it, and I can see the hype. I'm using another Craig jig for this. Again, to match my existing shelves and add some warmth to this otherwise dark office, I'm staining the shelves this light golden color. As for the cleats, since this is one large piece, we don't need them to span the entire length of each wall of the closet. We really only need a few inches on each wall to act as a ledge for it to rest on. The back pieces I cut to 30 inches, and then I made up the sides by using 2 of the 12-inch pieces. I would have cut these to 24 inches had I did my math correctly. So remember, measure twice, cut once. You can see how the 3 pieces will assemble here. I'm doing it to 1 so I can test fit it. If it were a normal plumb closet, this would be good to go. But my closet is very old. The house was built in the early 40s and they sort of just winged it back then. Sturdy as hell construction, sure, but no wall is actually straight in a perfect 90 degrees. There was no drywall back then. The entire face of the wall is made up of layers that were skim coated on by hand. To address these gaps, I'm taking a field measurement for the angle I need to cut off. I only had to move my miter saw by 1 notch, which was exactly what I needed to take off. Now they fit together without a gap. I want the cleats to fade away, so I'll be color matching them to the walls with this blackout color by Behr. Again, this isn't a painting channel, so we move on. Since I didn't do things in an optimal order, I have to wait for paint to dry. So after a good workout, we're ready to install the shelves. Because of those awkward angles, I'm screwing each piece in place rather than assembling them on the ground and just slotting the shelves in, just in case I need to make minor adjustments with the screws. And there we have it. It's not perfect, but it was a quick build, even with the unique shapes. I'm going to be cluttering these with a bunch of stuff, so I don't need perfectly fitted shelving for this awkward closet. The reasons I made them this narrowing shape was, well, for one, to be able to step in here without worrying about bumping into anything, and 2, because I plan on displaying a cosplay suit stand inside of here as well. So subscribe for that, and let me know in the comments what suit I should make.